Harvard won a legal victory, at least in a temporary legal victory, in its ongoing and escalating battle with President Trump. In a Massachusetts courtroom yesterday, a federal judge extended her block on the Trump administration's bid to prevent the university from enrolling international students. That comes as the president pushes to cancel all federal funds directed at Harvard. Let's bring in senior legal affairs reporter at Politico, Josh Gerstein. He was inside the courtroom yesterday for the Harvard Trump hearing. Also with us, Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist and MSNBC political analyst Eugene Robinson. Good to have you both this morning.
So, Josh, take us inside the courtroom and tell us what happened and what Harvard could expect down the road.
Well, Joe, it was a fairly brief hearing up in Boston. I would say it lasted only about 20 minutes. It was in front of Judge Allison Burroughs, who is an Obama appointee who has quite a history at this point of Harvard cases. She handled the Students for Fair Admissions Challenge, the case that eventually brought down affirmative action at the Supreme Court. She ruled in Harvard's favor, it should be said, in that case, and the Supreme Court obviously came out the other way. So she's got a fair amount of familiarity with Harvard. And the question here was basically, she had put in a temporary order a week ago when the Trump administration moved to end foreign student enrollment at Harvard, both the return of foreign students who are already there and new students who are trying to enroll. She sort of stopped the administration's move in that direction last week. And at the hearing yesterday, she made clear that she was going to extend that hold. What was kind of interesting was this conciliatory move by the administration. You know, this is an administration that doesn't often, at least publicly, talk about some kind of compromise. But we did see that. We saw a shift in position from the Trump administration. We saw Trump in the Oval Office, deliver the usual invective, over-the-top, inaccurate statements sometimes about Harvard. But then the other day, on Wednesday, he said, I want to make Harvard great again. I'm not sure they're going to be making any hats up with that slogan right away up there in Cambridge. But he said, I don't want to hurt Harvard. And he seemed to say, let's negotiate about the percentage of foreign students they should have on campus. And then the administration put out a piece of paper saying they were going to initiate a 30-day process to try to hash out this issue about the foreign students, which is interesting because last week, the Homeland Security Secretary said Harvard's status to, bring in these foreign students was being immediately revoked. Obviously, there's some tension between that and starting a 30-day process, presumably back and forth in negotiations. So there was a bit of a blink here, I think, on Trump's side, even though, of course, you'd never get any admission of that from this administration.
Yeah, Gene, it did sound like the president a couple of days ago was, in fact, willing to negotiate with Harvard. That said, people inside Harvard, according to a lot of reporting, also Michael Schmidt at the New York Times, said they understand. Like, they can win in court and still lose the war. Win the battle, lose the war. So it will be interesting to see if these two sides can come together and negotiate something. Because Harvard, again, they've got a $50 billion plus endowment. They can withstand the outside pressure a little bit longer than most, but still it'd be difficult for any university to withstand such ongoing attacks from the White House.
Yeah, absolutely. They can't withstand it forever, but they can hold out for a while. And one of the problems I hear is that Harvard, if they want to sit down and talk with the administration, what exactly are they going to be talking about, and what can you believe from any administration negotiator that won't be immediately contradicted or somehow twisted by the president, and how could you believe that anything was settled when he keeps coming up with new reasons to go after Harvard? So they're in a unique position among U.S. universities because they have all that money. They actually kind of prepared for this sort of thing. I think they issued something like $700 million in bonds shortly before all this started. So they've got a big pot of cash that they can use. But, it's not just the foreign students. It's the grants and all the money that's being canceled. There's just a lot on the table, and I think they need some more clarity before there can be any sort of real negotiation.
Yeah, so Pablo, you, of course, you did attend Harvard. Talk to us about what you have seen there the last few days, but also what those international students bring to campus, bring to the intellectual life. We played at the top of the hour, the university president sort of leaned into the idea of students there being from around the world, drew a huge ovation. It's an intrinsic part of that culture.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's so much to criticize about Harvard if you want, and that's a fair conversation. It also embodies for a lot of people around the world the American dream. I'm a first-generation American, parents from the Philippines. This was the whole thing about this country. Right. You go and get the best education in the world, you pay through the nose or you get financial aid, and it's all worth it. The scene, though, and I'm talking to people on campus all of the time, the scene on campus right now is fascinating. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is giving speeches at class day, and then a couple miles away is this courtroom where this is happening, in which the campus is, it's frankly galvanized. Yeah. And Harvard, by the way, it's not merely this hotbed of liberalism. As I have told you, John, the most popular class at Harvard is always Introduction to Economics. And for decades, it was taught by Reagan's chief economist, Marty Feldstein, who taught me the principles of economics. The graduates, the international kids...
And look what that did to you.
I mean, I got radicalized, clearly.
Wow. Put you on a porch in winter.
What happens is these graduates, demographically, they go into finance, consulting, and now tech. And so when you talk about the soft power, the through line in all of this, guys, is that this is damaging America from a broad perspective, globally and then capitalistically. My freshman roommate was from Kazakhstan. The kid across the hall was from Zimbabwe. These are people who came to this country with the promise that Harvard was the best of an American educational promise. And now all of these kids have to wonder, should we be coming to this country at all?
Hey, Josh, it's Van High. I'm curious, as you think about this fight with Harvard, it's part of a broader fight where you basically have the President of the United States against the courts. And you see this with the battle with law firms. You see it with Harvard. You see it with tariffs. On the tariffs specifically, as you've watched that through the lens of someone who understands how the courts work, is that going to end up in the Supreme Court? Is that going to be the ultimate arbiter of whether or not Trump can enact something he's cared about for 30, 40 years?
Oh, yeah, Gemma, I think that will end up at the Supreme Court pretty quickly. Within a matter of a few weeks, you have rulings coming up from sort of two different threads. This big one that came out of the Court of International Trade, which gets almost no press coverage under normal situations and deals with whether duties were charged incorrectly on some particular product. But here, dealing with this sort of momentous issue of the national economy, and then some other cases coming up through other courts. Yeah, I think it'll reach the Supreme Court, and it's going to be a fascinating test for the conservatives up there because they also have sort of two competing theories of the case. One is, as you know, a lot of them are pro-presidential power, historically pro-executive power, but that tends to be more in the national security, maybe the foreign policy arena. But then on the other side, they tend to be more libertarian and deregulatory on economic issues and actually sometimes against executive power when it's framed as the power of federal agencies to regulate individuals. They tend to lean towards Congress on that issue. And so it'll be really interesting to see whether those conservative justices view tariffs as primarily an economic issue, which might mean they'll come down against Trump, or do they view them as primarily a national security issue? And I think you should look for the administration to frame the case as one of national security and foreign policy in an effort to win those justices over.